Her topic is Impact Your Superpower for Change. I want to see her online. Aina Thunem. Aina Thunem, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Fantastic. The virtual floor is yours, Aina.
Thank you. What impact have you made on the people that you've come in contact with? Do you know? As a 25-year-old, fresh out of college, I was working double shifts as a freelance journalist at a regional newspaper. I was desperately trying to get a foot in the door, and I was working way too hard. I was exhausted and running out of passion when a female leader took me aside. She said, "I can see that you're struggling. Let me give you some advice. Instead of trying to be right for this job, make the job right for you. Gather as much experience and lesson as you can, and when you have all that you need, walk away." Now that 3-minute conversation changed my entire outlook on my career. I no longer saw employers as gods or executioners, but rather as collaborative partners. I never forgot this advice and passed it on to all the other struggling young employees that I met on my way. And years later, I contacted the woman who had given me such crucial advice to thank her. And guess what? She didn't even remember saying it. It wasn't so much what she said, though it made me feel seen, or the fact that she took the time out of her busy schedule to give me her advice, which made me feel important. It was all about the impact, how she left me, which was feeling empowered. My name is Aina Thunem. I'm a former feature and research journalist. And for the past decade, though, I've been working with PR and communication, especially focusing on advising business leaders. But really, communication has been a significant part of my entire career. And today, I'm a public speaker and consultant. Now, ever since I was little, I was trying to understand feelings and why certain experiences left an impact in the shape of a scar, while others were like seeds that made you grow and blossom. And as a journalist, I would see this over and over. Like, for example, the time that I interviewed a mother who for months was trying to get help for her daughter's mental health problems. She kept fighting for her to get a psychiatric help, but resources weren't available until one day when she opened her front door and found her daughter hanging from the ceiling. Within the hour, there was a crisis team at her door, among them a psychologist. The psychologist was, of course, there to do a job, but the impact was something else for the mother as she screamed, "You are too late." The stories that people told me as a journalist were almost exclusively about impact in one way or another. And this may be the reason why I always have been puzzled by how little focus is placed on impact. We are so concerned with impressions we make, or what is said, or what is done, what actions are taken, or what is being communicated, totally overlooking the core. How does our words and actions land? How does it make people feel? And what impact are we really making? As the late poet Maya Angelou says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." I am passionately certain that leadership and business are in transition, and in this transition, impactful leadership is significant. We already see this change. With the pandemic, employees were rethinking their purpose, how work life was making them feel. The Great Resignation is about more than people just having grown tired of their jobs. Attracting, keeping, and facilitating human resources have never been more important. We are moving into a new era of business leadership and future of work. There is a surge of desire for meaningful work and making a difference. We are searching for a very specific feeling, for a sense of purpose and an opportunity to make positive impact. Because people who positively impact our lives, they become part of our growth as humans. And isn't leadership, if anything, just that? Actually drawing the very best out of those you've been privileged to lead. I got my first job at 12, strawberry picker. I've had about 25 different bosses, and I remember every single one of them. Some challenged me, some nearly broke me, some made me grow, and a couple made me find my excellence. Anyone can and should use their ability to impact others, but leaders both have a special responsibility and an opportunity to do so. You have a platform, you establish culture, and the movement that you set into motion can reach tremendously far. That is the powerful truth of true power. Understanding and acting on it, that is your superpower for change. Unfortunately, we humans forget how impactful we are. We forget this either because we see ourselves as insignificant or because we over-exaggerate the importance or self-importance and we become self-absorbed. In Gothenburg, where I live, there used to be this bus driver who on his route, he would all of a sudden talk into the microphone and he would comment on the beautiful weather, or he would share a quote, or he would leave a friendly reminder of what's important in life. And people would smile and laugh, but it always created this wonderful, uplifted atmosphere. And I just think this is so telling because in most people's opinion, he's just a bus driver. But the fact is, he gets it. He truly grasps what impact is all about, that no matter who you are, you have the ability to better someone else's day. We are, in other words, as impactful as we choose to be. Your voice is significant. Impact is your superpower because it can, with so little effort, make such a big difference. Our intention is often for others to listen, to change, to do what we want. But what happens when the intention becomes, what can I do for you? Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always. I don't know if you've heard that quote before, but it's important, so feel free to tattoo it anywhere on your body. But just imagine if we could go through life and actually remember and live by that quote, even when that person isn't someone to impress or gain something from. My father struggled for most of his life with alcoholism. But the remaining years of his life, he was sober and he had the disease under control. And this gave him an opportunity to reflect back on certain things that he had lived through. And he often told this story about a time that he had been binge drinking for days and decided to visit a restaurant. It was a finer establishment, and like he said, I was too drunk and I had no business being there. But the maitre d' greeted my father in a way that he never forgot. He came over, was very nice, and said, I can see that you've been having fun tonight, but you look a bit tired. Maybe it would be best for you if you rested a bit and then you can come back here tomorrow instead. My father remembered this incident over 30 years later. This random encounter obviously made an impact on him. But how? I think the maitre d' gave my father a worthy way out of an otherwise very shameful situation. And I think my father, who under any other circumstance would have created a scene, felt that. Felt seen, not for his shortcomings, but as a human being with struggles. Look, I don't have an invention or an app or a revolutionary idea as to how we can become more aware of our unmeasurable potential to make positive impact. I wish it was that easy. However, I would like to leave you with 3 little words that I use to remind myself of my superpower. And hopefully, they will also encourage you on your journey of impactful leadership so that the rippling effects that you make leave seeds, not scars. The acronym ICU in this context stands for I for intention. Intention to move into conversation with the intent to understand, to be curious, and to ask, what can I do for you? Like that bus driver did, sharing quotes with his passengers over the microphone. Be the bus driver. C is for courage. Courage to reach out and to dare to be vulnerable and to share what you know. Like the female leader did for me, sharing her best advice. And U is for uplift. To make sure that you leave people feeling a little better about themselves than they did before they met you. Like the maitre d' did for my father that drunken night 30 years ago. So let me ask you again. What impact have you made on the people that you've come in contact with? The truth is, you will never know. And that is also the beauty of it.
Thank you, Aina, for that very, change empowering speech. The ICU. Thank you very much for that story, especially about your father. Thank you. We have received one question for you in the chat, and I think you touched towards it at the end of your speech, Robin. And thank you, Robin, for asking this question, where he says, where do we start if we want to become more impactful? What would you answer to somebody who wants at least to get started to be impactful? Maybe not, have the huge impacts that are immediately, but where can you do the small little steps, if I understand the question correctly?
Thank you for that question. And it's such an important question. And I'm so happy I got that, because to start just by asking people, and I know this sounds awkward and probably something most people would be uncomfortable, but start by asking people around you, people you met, what impact have I had on your life? I advised a business leader recently, and we talked about this, and he said, oh, I get it now, because on his last day of work, people weren't sharing what he was doing brilliantly in his job. They were actually sharing what kind of impact he had made on them as human beings. And I think that is what we're missing. We're missing how big of an impact we're actually making on other people's lives every single day.
Well, you certainly made an impact on us this evening. Aina, thank you ever so much.
Thank you.